Tonight, not above the law. Donald Trump makes history as the first US president to become a convicted criminal.
Also, a pet owner whose terrier bit a little boy's face says he's sorry. His plea to authorities.
The health system overloaded, and it's not even winter. How long will the ban on elective surgeries last?
Only on 7, you won't believe it, what a passenger tried to pack in checked luggage at Adelaide Airport.
And Tilly time. Adelaide goes wild for the Matildas. We're live to Adelaide Oval.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Rosanna Mangiarelli and Will Goodings.
Good evening. A jury has found Donald Trump won the US presidency in 2016 on a foundation of crimes and a cover-up.
In a unanimous and historic verdict, he was found guilty of 34 charges after he paid off a porn star who could have sunk his election hopes back then and may yet torpedo his bid to return to the White House.
A former president and now a convicted criminal. Donald Trump punching the air in defiance outside his Manhattan penthouse, minutes after upending American political history.
We have the verdicts.
The verdict counts, it's being read out.
Count 1, guilty. Count 2, guilty.
Count 3, guilty.
We're at 34 guilty counts.
The verdict makes Trump the first ever former or current president to be convicted of a crime.
A remarkable moment in American history.
But while the trial is over in this New York court of law, Donald Trump is still fighting in the court of public opinion.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt.
It took a jury of 12 New Yorkers, 7 men and 5 women, just 12 hours to reach a unanimous agreement to convict on all 34 charges. Charges centred on falsified business records, hiding hush money payments of $180,000 to adult film star Stormy Daniels, fearful that her claims of their sexual encounter could have derailed his 2016 run for the White House.
We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man.
The verdict left many outside court unsure how to feel.
I'm surprised because it's the first time he's been nailed for anything.
I don't think the people should celebrate too hard because it's definitely a serious matter.
But most weren't buying his claims of a witch hunt.
It's about time something actually stuck on him. Everyone else in his team's gone down. It's time for him to go down.
Or the anger directed towards the man who brought this historic case.
Everybody knows what happened here. You have a sore-respect DA.
That's District Attorney Alvin Bragg, silent throughout the trial, tonight defending its integrity.
In the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors, by following the facts and the law and doing so without fear or favor.
Bragg's case hinged on evidence from this man, a convicted perjurer and Trump's one-time legal henchman. Michael Cohen's star testimony struck a nerve with jurors. He provided the receipts for the porn star payments, and tonight his years-long crusade for revenge ended.
I guess the word is relieved. This has been 6 years in the making.
While from Miss Daniels, the feeling was mutual.
I did speak with Stormy. I mean, she was actually pretty emotional, and but she also did her duty and came to court and told the truth.
I think we'll fight till the end and we'll win because our country's gone to hell.
Sure, I think people are pretty entrenched in their positions.
If anything, it's going to make him into a martyr.
It's what Joe Biden fears. Convicted felon or not, Trump will be the Republican nominee for president, a spokesman said. The pair are due to debate in less than a month, while Trump's sentencing is set down for July 11. That's 4 days before the Republican convention to formally anoint Trump their candidate. And by the time the second debate comes around, American voters will be preparing to decide whether to put a convicted criminal back in the White House for 4 more years.
Just as a technical matter, somebody with a felony couldn't work in the West Wing. But you could be the president of the United States in the West Wing.
Yes, it's
crazy.
So Donald Trump back to this Manhattan courthouse in just 41 days for sentencing, and the presiding judge in this case has a range of options available to him, including fines and other forms of restitution. But to be crystal clear here, the threat of a prison sentence is not off the table, and technically speaking, even if Donald Trump is sent to jail, he's still eligible to run for president.
Somebody like President Trump should never
face a jail sentence based on this conduct.
It's conduct, though, that's wiped 10% from the value of Trump's own media company. While his fundraising website crashed temporarily, Trump used the spotlight to call for donations by email, telling supporters he's a political prisoner.
Democrats have finally succeeded in their years-long quest to turn America into an absolute
Describe it for us.
It was absolutely unreal.
Australian journalist Lachlan Cartwright was in court to watch the verdict, a bit player in this affair, after his employer hatched the plan to catch and kill, as it's known, the stormy story on Trump's behalf.
The right verdict?
It was the right verdict, yes.
Trump is already planning his next move, remarks in a few hours' time to state his case.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
For an election campaign like the world's never seen.
This is long from over. Thank you very much.
In New York City, David Woywood, 7 News.
Look, they call him Teflon Don for a reason. Donald Trump is, of course, a convicted crook tonight. That much is clear. And let's not also forget that he is a sex offender. But right now, the former US president is attempting to spin his way out of this crisis and to somehow turn this verdict into a net positive for his election campaign. And, of course, so many of his supporters right now, they are swallowing that message. But the facts in this case, they could not be clearer. Donald Trump paid a porn star and then conspired to cover it up. Look, this would have buried a lesser politician, yet Donald Trump maintains his edge in those polls over his rival, the current US President Joe Biden. And the burning question for America right now is, will this verdict turn enough Republicans against Donald Trump, or has it just emboldened his movement? Rosanna?
Yes, what a day. Thank you very much, David. Tim Lester joins us now. And Tim, those pressing questions, what now for Trump? And do supporters dump him or endorse him?
Well, Rosanna, that might just be the central question for the 2024 presidential campaign. Does this finally take some paint off Donald Trump's popularity? There will be an army of pollsters out in this country in coming weeks to measure it, so we will get an idea. Donald Trump, of course, has been tremendously successful at promoting the idea he's not a crook. He is, in fact, the victim of a conspiracy, a political conspiracy. But many believe that story will wear thin if there are guilty verdicts coming down the line.
Fractured America.
Guilty! Guilty!
Outside the Manhattan court, moments after the Trump verdict, one person appears distraught.
Arrest me instead!
More applaud.
Fantastic result. Good result for justice.
As news of America's first criminal conviction of a former president spreads around the country.
He had all the money in the world to defend himself, and he was still found guilty from his peers, and that's the way it should be.
It's a bunch of hooey. I'm going to vote for Trump either way.
From Joe Biden's campaign, caution. In New York today, we saw that no one is above the law, but there is still only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, at the ballot box.
Just simply, I don't think we need a convict in office if that conviction sticks.
For an ordinary politician, a verdict like this would be a dose of electoral arsenic. Donald Trump is not an ordinary politician.
I think it's going to boost his numbers.
3 weeks ago, one major poll suggested 16% of Trump supporters would reconsider their presidential vote if he were convicted of a crime. 4% were firm. They would withdraw their support. Even if just that 4% holds, it's a dangerous loss of votes for the Republican Party's expected nominee. But will it hold? Donald Trump has already been through civil trials, finding him liable for sexual assault and fraud, fined the equivalent of $660 million. It didn't even dent his hold on the Republican Party, nor cruel his polling lead over Joe Biden. Tonight, the most powerful Republican in Congress calls the court outcome ridiculous as others lead an outcry.
I can't believe the hoax, this sham, this absolute injustice justice system.
This, Donald Trump's hometown in Florida.
I don't think this is a jailable offense, in my opinion. I mean, it's possible that they could send him to jail, but the next 3 trials, that's the important stuff.
3 more criminal cases against the former president, one around those boxes of government secrets he took home after leaving the White House, 2 more on his role in the January 6th attack on Congress, an attempt to overturn his loss at the last presidential election. All 3 mired in delays and may not make it to trial before America votes. Donald Trump, tonight, guilty. But in his run to win back the White House, he's far from beaten. In the United States, Tim Lester, 7 News.
Back home, and the owner of a dog that mauled a Western Suburbs toddler has broken his silence, telling 7 News he's sorry. Jeb Stubberfield admits he should have been man enough to stick around after the attack to make sure the little boy was okay.
This is Jeb Stubberfield and his best friend Buddy. They were walking around Pennington Reserve on Wednesday when the terrier attacked, latching onto 3-year-old Ismail's face.
He's only a little fella, the kid wasn't, so it was my dog little fella, so yeah, it's very unfortunate. I'm very sorry, I wish I could take it back.
Buddy's owner spoke to 7 News on the phone. He says his dog was eating something off the grass, and when the toddler tried to pat him, he became territorial.
An unfortunate circumstance, to be honest. I'm just very apologetic to the child, obviously, firstly, and the family to put them through this pain.
He says his split-second decision to walk away before checking if Ismail was all right has been keeping him awake.
I did definitely panic, and obviously if I could take that back, I should have manned up and stayed around.
Jeb says he's handed himself into a police station, but he's now terrified of losing his buddy.
I was going through a lot of depression and anxiety a few years ago, and I was actually given him.
The state government wants to harshen penalties for the owners of dogs that attack, but even then it will ultimately be the council's job to decide if the dog lives or is put down.
And they must also then prove that that dog is unduly dangerous, which can be a difficult test to overcome.
Tonight, Buddy's future remains uncertain. Charles Sturt Council says its investigation is ongoing. Lauren Rose, 7 News.
A sellout Matilda's crowd is right now packing into Adelaide Oval, confident of helping the Tillies to a big win against China. For Adelaide-born player Charlotte Grant, it's an especially big game with plenty of familiar faces in the stands cheering her on.
South Australia is giddy with green and gold as Matilda's fans waltz into Adelaide Oval.
Caitlin Ford's my favourite player, so I made this cutout of her and I hope she sees me in the crowd.
But there are no bigger fans tonight than those who played alongside hometown hero Charlotte Grant.
There's a bunch of us all going together who have played with her, and yeah, we all love her. What she could do at such a young age was just unreal.
The Tillies defender was a junior with Cumberland United out at Bedford Park. Sarah Denton remembers winning 4 consecutive championships with her while also representing the state.
She was a really fierce little player, and during that time as well, Charlie's dad was also our coach. I'm just glad that she's able to come back to Adelaide and just keep promoting women's football.
But the 22-year-old's not the only one getting back to their roots. Adelaide Oval's ground crew worked late and early this morning, transforming last night's AFL Oval into a world-class soccer pitch.
I think the people that have worked on the stadium have done a phenomenal job to turn around so quickly.
And game preparations don't stop there, with Tillies venues popping up across Adelaide, offering plenty of green and gold specials, so those who missed out on tickets don't miss the atmosphere.
It's not like we get the Tillies here every day, so Adelaide know how to turn up for these sorts of events.
Kimberly Pratt, 7 News.
Tom Johnson joins us from Adelaide Oval, and Tom, the excitement's building there. The kick-off's not far away.
It sure is, Will. The Matildas are promising to put on a show tonight, even though it's just being billed as a friendly tonight against China. Now, Tillies fans are starting to stream into the Oval. 53,000 tickets sold. Green and gold is on full display. It's been 5 years since the Matildas played in Adelaide. Now, that was in front of 10,000 at Highmarsh Stadium. This time around, they return as the pride of a nation, playing on the biggest stage in town.
It'll be electric, like it is sold out, like it's amazing. For women's soccer, it's fantastic.
Big game, lots of people, screaming, excitement because I know they're a good team and they're really good to watch.
After tonight's game, the Matildas head to Sydney for another sellout clash. More than 80,000 expected there on Monday night. Rosanna?
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Tom. Live now to Casey Treloar, who joins us from a very busy North Adelaide hotel.
And Casey, the atmosphere is building there as well, it looks like.
Well, we've got the green and gold lights on here, the green and gold merch. We're at the Lion Hotel, which is set to be a packed house tonight. And right now, Tilly's fans, well, they're settling in for a feed and a drink before they get ready to cheer on the Matildas against China. But here is one of numerous venues right across the city where fans who missed out on tickets can watch the game on a big screen. Going all out, the Lion here, he has a Kerr burger, and to go with it, it's special starting 11 deal to kickstart the night. Now, indoors will be the place to be this evening, where it looks like the showers have mostly cleared off. It's set to get pretty chilly, down to about 9 degrees toward the end of the game. So you want plenty of layers on if you find yourself at an outdoor beer garden or if you're heading into the Oval for the game. Will?
I think you can have fun there tonight, Casey. We'll catch you later. The state's hospital system is at breaking point tonight, with almost 24 elective surgeries cancelled and hundreds of staff off sick. An unprecedented surge of COVID and flu is being blamed, and winter hasn't even begun.
Our hospitals are bursting at the seams.
We currently have 200 more patients in our hospital than the same time last year.
Clearly, we are using every single possible bed that we have across the system.
It's prompted drastic action, elective surgeries cancelled for at least the next week. Where possible, regional patients moved back to the country and children transferred from suburban hospitals to the Women's and Children's.
We'll be reviewing on a daily basis.
SA Health's blaming a triple whammy of respiratory illnesses, COVID, flu and RSV. 140 patients are in hospital with the viruses. 270 staff are out with COVID too.
It really has, over the last 4 weeks, had a very sharp uptick.
And it's reflected in the case numbers, with COVID infections soaring to almost 2,500 in the past week and flu numbers more than doubling in the past month. But the Health Workers Union says authorities should have been prepared.
It's disgraceful that SA Health is not acknowledging the workforce shortages and rather blaming an uptick in seasonal illness.
Our Chief Medico says the crisis is an urgent reminder to get vaccinated against the flu, especially children under 5. For them, the virus can be fatal.
We're also being urged to revert to pandemic practices, using hand sanitizer and staying home if you're sick. Andrea Nicholas, 7 News.
An Adelaide couple badly hurt in a deadly mid-air turbulence flight has arrived home after a harrowing 10-day ordeal. Mitcham Girls High School teacher Kerry Jordan suffered a spinal injury and has lost sensation below her waist. She and husband Keith were on board a Singapore Airlines flight from London when it plunged 54 metres in just seconds. He says his wife faces a long road ahead.
I feel a little bit guilty to be standing here and talking to you today. You know, I'm able to walk about and scratch that itch. So those sort of things you take for granted.
The Merino couple was on their first holiday since COVID.
A Jetstar passenger flight had a scary landing in New Zealand this morning, veering off the runway and running onto the grass at Christchurch Airport after a flight from Auckland.
It's just kind of dramatic, eh? We landed, slowed down, then went really quickly again, spun, ended up on the grass.
No one was injured. Jetstar said the plane had a steering issue and the cause is under investigation.
One of the major supermarkets was forced to close its SA distribution centre for several hours this morning when a delivery truck burst into flames. The refrigerated semi-trailer was at the coal site at Edinburgh when it went up just before 8 a.m. Thick smoke billowed into the sky as around 20 firefighters battled the fierce blaze. The trailer's been gutted and a section of the loading dock destroyed. Delivery drivers were forced to queue outside until it was declared safe.
All right, let's check in with Soder and what's coming up in sport.
Well, Port coach Ken Hinkley has been pretty frank in his assessment of last night's loss, given and where he sides at, given that big 6-goal fade out. No shortage of critics around as well. We'll tell you about some of those. 7, Scott Camporelli has some faith in the Crows' chances of breaking a 7-year hoodoo at the G against the Hawks tomorrow. And Dallas star Luka Doncic talks smack with Snoop Dogg as the Mavs head to the big dance. All that and plenty more coming up shortly.
Look forward to that. Thank you, Soda. Well, staff at Adelaide Airport have made a sinister discovery. Exactly what was found in a passenger's luggage, the exclusive details next.
Also, a Western Suburbs man accused of a bomb plot says he's just a gun enthusiast.
Buckingham Palace puts key royals on light duties this British summer.
And later, a freak tornado plays havoc in a country New South Wales town. A man's been arrested over the biggest ever seizure of cannabis at Adelaide Airport, with 26 kilos of the drug found packed inside suitcases. Hannah Ford has the exclusive details and video. Hannah, the drugs had already been checked in for boarding.
They were, Will. 7 News understands it was airport staff who stumbled across the huge haul. $650,000 worth of cannabis was discovered in vacuum-sealed bags inside the luggage. The bags had been checked in on a Virgin flight from Adelaide to Sydney. 7 News understands a baggage handler spotted the drugs after one of the cases broke. Police alerted federal authorities, who then discovered there were more suitcases stuffed with drugs waiting to load. In total, 26 kilograms of marijuana was seized, and this after the luggage passed through the X-ray machine. The 27-year-old passenger accused of trying to smuggle the drugs had already boarded. He was escorted off the flight and arrested by federal police. The Adelaide man has been charged with trafficking. He was granted police bail to face court in August. Rosanna.
All right, thank you, Hannah. An electronics engineer has denied a sinister plot to blow up an Adelaide Hills substation in the name of white nationalism. The Defence Department employee insists he's a gun enthusiast, not a terrorist.
Footage released to 7 News shows police swooping on electronics engineer Artem Vasilyev at the Findon home he shares with his mother in 2021.
Can you just start your full name? My name is Artem Vasilyev.
The Defence Department employee is on trial accused of stockpiling homemade weapons and hatching a plan to bomb the Cherry Gardens electricity substation to advance his views on white nationalism.
Are there going to be any foreign parts that you've manufactured here?
God, I don't even know anymore. It certainly wasn't my intention to, make functional firearms.
But Vasilyev's lawyer told the jury his motivation for having the weapons was not to use them in a terrorist attack. Otherwise, you would think that every gun owner has them for some sort of purpose like that. Police also uncovered 3D printed gun parts, chemicals used to manufacture explosives, skull masks and books on sniper training.
There was also the safe with the where I stored the ammunition in there.
Scott Henchliff admits his client had a large quantity of extremist and racist material, but that doesn't make him guilty of this charge, adding, was he a true believer? Perhaps, perhaps not.
Vasilyev's lawyer used the example of going to the home of a Crow supporter and seeing a lot of club paraphernalia. He said that doesn't mean you're going to pull on the boots and kick a goal for the team.
The court heard Vasilyev researched how to launch an attack using explosives and firearms and looked for ways to avoid being discovered. The trial continues on Monday when the jury is expected to be sent out to deliberate. Deanna Williams, 7 News.
The royal calendar will be a little lighter this summer in Britain. Princess Kate will skip preparations for this year's Trooping the Colour as she recovers from her cancer diagnosis. But King Charles has been given the all clear to attend his birthday bash, set to watch from a carriage, not horseback. He still plans to travel to France for the D-Day anniversary.
A freak tornado has rocked a regional city in New South Wales. See the path of destruction next.
Also, a man extradited from South Australia after his arrest in Berry.
The Prime Minister under growing pressure to sack one of his key ministers.
And a little later, the VR treatment giving back pain patients real relief.
A man has been extradited from South Australia to New South Wales facing serious domestic violence allegations. Police say the 28-year-old assaulted and choked a woman known to him at a Sydney pub last month. He was arrested at a caravan park in Berry earlier this week before being taken back to New South Wales to face court.
Branches, bins and basketball rings were sent flying in Wagga Wagga as strong winds blew through just before 8 this morning. Residents reported seeing a tornado fly past with windows smashed and fences ripped from the ground.
Did you hear it or see it?
Oh yeah, terrible, yeah.
What did it sound like?
Frightening. I thought it was a plane crash.
No one was injured in the severe weather.
The Prime Minister says he has no imminent plans to sack Immigration Minister Andrew Giles. That's despite a controversial direction he ordered, which has seen visas extended for dozens of murderers, rapists and pedophiles.
A direct question.
When will you sack Andrew Giles?
Answered by a statement of fact.
Andrew Giles has the job of being the Immigration Minister.
Has the job, asked whether he'd still have the job at the next election.
I have no intentions of making changes imminent.
Not imminent, but not ruled out, with expectations growing of a ministerial reshuffle in the July winter break, shifting Mr Giles. Though Mr Albanese says if opposition leader Peter Dutton held himself when he was minister to the same standards he now demands of Mr Giles,
then he wouldn't have lasted in that portfolio for a week.
As the controversy over Andrew Giles's Direction 99 goes international, New Zealand now worried that rewriting it will reverse its original intention and send a flood of criminal bikies back there.
We regret the decision that Australia has made. I spoke to Anthony Albanese about it yesterday morning. He reassured me that a common sense approach would remain.
Australia makes our decisions in our national interest.
As the Administrative Appeals Tribunal reveals it's reinstated the visas of 184 foreign criminals this financial year, half of its Direction 99 cases, because they have family ties to Australia.
The decisions that we make, we are accountable and responsible for.
The opposition says ultimate responsibility, though, lies with the Minister. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Bruce Lerman has lodged an 11th hour appeal over his multi-million-dollar defamation case against Network 10 and Lisa Wilkinson. The matter will be considered by 3 judges later this year. In April, Justice Michael Lee found on the balance of probabilities the former Liberal staffer had raped Brittany Higgins. It's not clear how Lerman, now unemployed, would fund an appeal.
Well, the clock is ticking down to kick off. We're back live to see how the nerves of Matilda's fans are holding up. That's next.
Also, Australia's sending millions in aid to Ukraine, but it's not what they want.
And later, how virtual reality is helping ease back pain, no surgery required.
Tonight's edition of The Nightly is out now. Australia's only digital newspaper to drop nightly. And it's free, delivered to your pocket every weeknight. Spend your night wisely. Free at thenightly.com.au.
The Adelaide Oval, and it won't be long now before the Matildas run out for their sold-out blockbuster against China. Tom Johnson's there. Tom, it's a sea of green and gold beanies and scarves.
Well, there are beanies, there are scarves, there are flags. I'll tell you what, if they sold green and gold Matilda's mittens for your hands, I reckon they'd sell out of those too, because it is starting to cool down just a little bit here. But I can tell you, the anticipation is only heading up. Now, take a look at this. There are 53,000 fans, and they are excited. I tell you what, they can't wait for this game to get underway. 53,000 fans heading into Adelaide Oval for this blockbuster against China. And what I love about it is it's a packed house, and the Matildas are basically winners before they've even run out onto the pitch. And the game kicks off at 7:40, so they're very keen to get involved. Across the Torrens, a huge night too for the hospitality industry. It's going to be great fun, Rosanna.
Looks like you're already having plenty out there. Thank you, Tom. Now, the Albanese government has announced a $31 million funding for energy and humanitarian assistance to Ukraine. President Zelensky had been requesting shipments of coal from Australia, but Labor says that's just not feasible.
Well, actually, if you ship coal from Australia, you have shipping and insurance costs.
Ukraine's energy network has been severely damaged by the war with Russia.
Embattled airline manufacturer Boeing has been told it can't increase the production of its MAX planes until serious quality issues are resolved. Sweeping production and safety changes was presented in a marathon meeting with America's Federal Aviation Administration. Both parties will now hold weekly meetings to check progress on the plan.
All right, time now for a check on the markets with finance editor Gemma Acton. And Gemma, how did the markets finish on the last day of the month?
Well, today was a strong session, and despite the losses of the past fortnight, the ASX 200 has closed the month of May higher. Healthcare and consumer stocks led the way today. The Aussie dollar has punched back above 66 US cents, while oil has slipped again. It is down nearly 5% this month. And more families are taking out no-interest loans to help buy basic goods like fridges or computers, or pay for essentials like medical bills. That's according to NAB, which has issued $68 million worth of no-interest loans in the past year. That's up from $57 million last year. 35 to 39-year-olds are taking out the highest number of them.
Thank you, Gemma. Surgery-free relief for people suffering from back pain. Patients learning a new kind of movement safely. How virtual reality is giving their lives back. Don't miss that story a little later in 7 News.
All right, let's move to sport now. And Ken Hinckley's been pretty frank about last night's loss, hasn't he?
Bad fade out. Certainly cost them. There's a few critics floating around at the moment. We're going to catch up with that in a moment. Also coming up, the Crows out to smash a long drought at the G when they take in an unchanged lineup against the Hawks tomorrow. SA's Thanasi Kokonakis looking good on the Paris clay, as is the Aussie Demon. And the Mavs line up a title fight with the Celtics as Luka Doncic lets Snoop Dogg know all about it. Hello again. Heading into the bye, power coach Ken Hinkley admits his side is only a mid-tier team. Port got smashed in the final quarter in last night's 6-goal loss to the Blues, with a footy legend calling them a fake top 4 team.
8-4 at the halfway point, but is the power flattering to deceive?
The old fake top 4 team, Port Adelaide.
Ooh,
I don't know where they go from here.
Well and truly in it at three-quarter time, Ken Hinkley's men were taught a lesson in the final term. Carlton captain Patrick Cripps with 2 of his side's 8 fourth-quarter goals.
Can Cripps do it again? What is that?
They were better than us in the last quarter, but it's hard to deny, isn't it? They spanked us there.
Shows you've got to play 4 good quarters, not 3, so yeah, we've got some things to work on.
Again, missing Connor Rosie, Port's midfield failed to stand up, conceding 7 goals won from stoppages in the decisive term.
We get some more clarity on where we need to continue to chase, and that's okay. We prefer not to get that, but we got it.
3 goals apiece for Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay, and the jury remains out on Port's new look back line.
Well, they held up pretty well for 3 quarters, clearly, but for the 4th quarter, no. They were first to react, and we were second to react in the last quarter behind the ball.
Charlie Dixon had a night to forget with 1 possession before being subbed out in the 3rd. Mitch Georgiades playing a lone role with 4 goals in his best game since returning from a knee reconstruction, while Ivan Soldo has escaped punishment for this hit on Mitch McGovern. Josh Money, 7 News.
The Crows are hoping to break an MCG hoodoo 7 years in the making when they take on Hawthorn tomorrow. Adelaide hasn't won at the home of footy since 2017. They'll go in unchanged against the informed Hawks following today's captain's run. And for his keys to how the Crows can break that drought, here's 7 footy expert Scott Camporelli.
But Sunday school is over. The Crows have given the Eagles a masterclass.
Heading to the MCG hasn't been a happy hunting ground. Matthew Nix says the Crows must beat the informed Hawks to keep their finals destiny in their own hands. Lose tomorrow and you become vulnerable and reliant on other results. Not a good position to be in. While we anticipate it would be a decent contest against West Coast, it ended up being a training run. Sam Mitchell's turned them into a hungry team at Hawthorn. It's won 4 of its last 6 off the back of a dominant ground ball game. Adelaide's trademark ball movement needs to be on show from the opening bounce, like it was against the Eagles. It can't be chasing like it has so many times this year in important games. With their elite pressure and the 4th best defence, the Crows should be winning this game.
Thank you, Campo. Now, SA's Thanasi Kokonakis is through to the 3rd round of the French Open for the 2nd time in his career after coming from 2 sets down to win, while Alex de Minaur is also through for the 1st time. Novak Djokovic used every part of centre court in a straight sets victory. Nicely done. And the Dallas Mavericks are through to the NBA Finals thanks to a starring role from Luka Doncic in Game 5 against Minnesota.
14 for Luca on the logo. What is going on here? He is on one tonight.
Yeah, he finished with 36 points and dished out some trash talk to American rapper Snoop Dogg. The Mavs will meet Boston in the finals. And Murray Bridge trainers Dan Clarkin and Upi McGilvray are just 158 days away from living out a childhood dream. Their horse, The Map, will line up in this year's Melbourne Cup. It'll be SA's first chance in the race that stops the nation for 15 years.
You'd struggle to find this place on the map, but this modest 12-horse stable just down the road from Murray Bridge Racecourse could be the home of the next Melbourne Cup winner.
I've never been to one, so to have an actual runner, it'll be pretty full on.
The Dan Clarkin and Upi McGilvray trained 5-year-old The Map earned direct entry into this year's race by winning the Andrew Ramsden at Flemington.
3 across the track, all to play for, and The Map gets up on the outside to win. It'll be here on the first Tuesday.
We saw a horse that ran a race that she couldn't have run 12 months earlier, so she's just a giver.
When she got a bit of clear galloping room and she followed that horse through and then got to the outside, and got a bit exciting then.
That's an understatement. Divine intervention may have played its part with Upi's biggest fan, her dad Charles, passing away just days before.
He would be so unbelievably proud of what we've achieved, and I was a pretty lucky little girl to have a dad like that.
South Aussie star Jamie Carr would be the ideal rider in the race that stops the nation, having previously ridden the mare to 2 wins in a second.
I think that'd be the dream. Jay Carr, she is so talented, Jamie Carr, that she will have offers from all over the world. We'll just have to sort of play the long game, I suppose.
While Dan's tasted Group 1 success, winning the Blue Diamond with Miracles of Life in 2013, Upi's still yet to join the club, but has the first Tuesday in November earmarked on the calendar.
Golly gosh, I'm just running through my mind on those 2-year-olds out there if there's anything earlier. No,
I'd run with November.
I think we'll run with November.
Robbie Cornthwaite, 7 News.
Yeah, great story there. Now, our one to watch this week is at Morphettville. Race 7, number 8, Trumpty Dumpty. Good luck if you have a little flutter there. Footy, of course, tonight. We've got the doggies taking on the Pies at Marble.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a big one. Thank you, Soda. Well, it's the high-tech Aussie research treating back pain like it's virtual child's play.
The non-surgical relief has boasted an 80% reduction in suffering.
The 1 in 6 Australians who suffer back pain know the anguish is both physical and mental.
Even trying to find a good spot, a way to sit, sleeping, left, right, back, up, down, it was just awful.
A popular singer, like many chronic pain sufferers, Cindy became afraid to move around and her world shrunk.
Doing gigs on stage when you've got backache and still trying to smile and be the show person for your audience was really hard work.
But an Australian first study of its kind has given Cindy her life back.
It provides this immersive, distracting environment where they're not necessarily thinking about their trunk and their pain.
Using a VR headset alongside a physio, patients can learn a new kind of movement safely.
I think it's fun.
And often can't believe what they're capable of.
You think, did I really do that? Is it me bending now and not saying it's sore or aching?
In order to change someone's beliefs, it's got to make sense to them through a lived experience.
The hope is this approach will be rolled out more widely and used as a tool to complement traditional physio.
The VR research into back pain has only been made possible through generous donors.
When you go through the pain that I went through, and others may be worse than me, the hope is that this can help you.
All game, no pain. Katrina Blowers, 7 News.
They say winners are grinners, and we went to the mall to find some for National Smile Day. That's next.
And the wet weather's cleared in time for the Tillies game and for the weekend. I'll be back with your full forecast live from North Adelaide.
Well, time for the weather now with Casey, who joins us again from North Adelaide.
And Casey, it looks like the showers have cleared just in time for Tillies fans.
Well, there were plenty of nervous fans this afternoon as that steady deluge of showers came through. Now, though, dry skies and calm conditions. But those showers, they did deliver another 9 millimetres in the West Terrace gauge. Heavier falls, though, about the hills and southern suburbs. Kaipo collected 23 mils, 15 at Lofty and another 13 at Noarlunga. Now, temperature reached a top of 17.5 and now it's dropped to around 11 degrees, but we will continue to see the mercury drop off tonight as the cloud cover starts to clear. Statewide today, conditions were cool and cloudy about the south with sunny skies further north. Mostly clear and calm conditions to continue into the weekend as a high pressure system moves into SA. Meanwhile, the big band of wet weather's now moving across Queensland and New South Wales, set to deliver plenty of rain over Brisbane and Sydney tomorrow. Melbourne may see a lingering shower or two. Back home, mostly sunny skies up north, a top of 19 for Pukacha and Roxby Downs. There is a chance of a morning shower or two about Eastern Eyre Peninsula, the Flinders, Mid-North and Yorks, for centres including Port Augusta, Whyalla, Port Pirie and Kadina. Looking dry elsewhere. 14's the top for Clare, partly cloudy, and 17 for Renmark, Murray Bridge and Victor Harbour. Narracourt's a chance for morning frost with a forecast low of 0 degrees, a top of 16 for Mount Gambier, and there is a frost warning issued for the southeast. A relatively cold start for the city as well, down to a low of 5, a top of 18 with partly cloudy conditions. Chance for morning fog and very, very slight chance of a passing morning shower about the northern suburbs. Calm conditions on metro waters, east to southeasterly winds about 10 knots and seas below half a metre. To the surf, up to 4 foot around Victor and Yorks with mornings looking best. Looking ahead, the sunshine's back on Sunday with a top of 17 and clear skies mean cold mornings for Sunday and Monday. 17 also to the top Monday and Tuesday with another wet weather system, a chance of delivering a shower over Adelaide on Wednesday and Thursday. And before I go, let's take a look at tonight's ray of sunshine. Today is National Smile Day and we set out to prove it in Rundle Mall, asking South Aussies what brought a smile to their faces on this special day.
I think my girlfriend.
The Matildas. Meeting all my favourite players.
What makes her smile?
Oh, lots of stuff. Her dad.
Trump getting found guilty.
Meeting Haley Razzo. I got teary.
I've been working on that kickflip for months. That would be a dream come true. It would definitely make me smile.
What's making me smile today? Well, all these Tilly fans coming together to celebrate women's sport.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? I can't wait. I'll be there very shortly.
A couple of goals will have us smiling tonight.
Oh, yes. We need that. Thank you very much. Time now for a quick look at what's coming up on Weekend Sunrise.
The condition affecting over 1 in 3 women and even more men.
The affordable new treatments to fight hair loss.
Plus, the $5 million game show giveaway. How you could score the largest single payout in TV history. Start with Sunrise.
Well, that is all the news to now. We'll have updates for you right throughout the evening.
Stay with us, though, as the Magpies take on the Bulldogs. That's live from Marvel Stadium. Enjoy the match. But from all the Adelaide 17 for now, it's good night.
Good night.
Stream 7 News anytime, live and on demand on 7 Plus and with 7news.com.au. You'll know the news.